At the beginning of the movie, a fairly young girl, about 10 years old, appears. Her name is Sophie and she lived in an orphanage because her parents died. Sophie is an insomniac and often wakes her up in the middle of the night. Because she often wandered around the orphanage at night. Because all night she couldn't sleep. She was just as afraid as her other children. There is an old man who appears in the dark. And he kidnaps the children. He then eats these children after killing them. One night when everyone is asleep, she hears a cat meow. She was facing sleep problems, so she went outside to find out. When she is on her balcony, she checks to see if some cats have dropped the litter box. She suddenly woke up. A huge hand appeared from the back of the building with a trash can. After that, a huge giant appears from the back of the building. Sophie has seen this giant. And it saw her too. She is afraid to see it. And she goes straight to bed. However, this giant catches Sophie and sticks his hand in the window. And it takes you there. As you can see, this giant used to hide from humans. When a human appeared in front of her, she managed to hide herself. And creeps from there. And she enters another world and takes her Sophie. And there was the world of giants. This means that only giants lived there. As Sophie notices, is a big house. And everything in this house was huge like a giant. Sophie tries to escape from there. Her giant tells her, there's no way out. There's no way out of here. Hearing that, she's frightened. She recognizes that it is an ancient giant. If you save Sophie while putting it on the pot, you'll have a good appetite. I can't control my appetite. Sophie thought this giant would sacrifice me. I hear other giants laughing. So she asked the giants of old. Are there other giants? Old giant says yes. There are other giants. And all these giants are cannibals because they eat raw human flesh. Because they have no sympathy for anyone. And their prisoners are swallowed up by them. Sophie is even more scared when she knows. She then asks the old giant, do you want to eat me too? Old giant says, no. I don't eat people. I am a vegetarian, not a cannibal. And this giant eats nothing but tasteless vegetables. Nevertheless, he doesn't want to eat people. Indicates a sympathetic, childish giant. She asks the old giant, why did you bring me here if you don't eat people? The old giant says you saw me. I could tell someone there about me. And my life might be in danger. People end up here because they know about us. And they put an end to the other giants as well. That's why I had to bring you here. Now you will stay here with me for the rest of your life. Sophie says no. I run away. The old giant says, no. Don't risk running away. Otherwise, the giants outside will show no mercy. Speaking of which, the old giant has Sophie on his board. And it tells her, rest. But Sophie used to suffer from sleep disorders. Then she noticed that the giant was taking a large bottle out of his pocket. There was something shiny in the bottle. Then she asks the giants, what's in these bottles? The giants say there are dreams. It's no use to me then. I'm not dreaming. And how can you dream? Because I suffer from sleep disorders. Then the giant begins to read Sophie's book. This book contained many stories. The old giant begins reading the story that put Sophie to sleep. Then this old giant takes a bottle. And he takes a dream out of the bottle. Meanwhile, Sophie wakes up. She notices that Lise is still sleeping. She took advantage of this and escaped from this house. She is trying to escape. However, she is captured by a giant. And this giant was actually bigger than this old giant. But Sophie doesn't care about this giant. And it devours her. Immediately after that, Sophie wakes up. This means that Sophie had her nightmare. Sophie woke up and said to the giant, was it you? I can't sleep anymore, I can't dream. But the dream you showed me was a nightmare. The giant replied, I had to do it. So you better stay here. The old giant explains to Sophie that the giant introduced here is bigger than me. And I'm nothing before these giants. While they're still talking, a giant arrives. And it was really bigger than this old giant. This giant asks the old giant he's Pygmy. Who did you talk to? Here all the giants called the old giants pygmies. Because it was smaller than the others. The old giant answers them, no. I'm not talking to anyone. Sophie is also hiding somewhere. This larger giant's hand was injured, so she went to the old man's to change. This giant is a cannibal and can smell the people in this house. So he starts checking what's put there. Then Sophie moves into the vegetables that her grandfather was eating. Smell these vegetables, and this giant senses people there. Giant has never eaten this vegetable. But today I smelled people enchanting with these vegetables. Since Sophie was inside, the giant begins to eat it. The old giant sees it and says, stop. You can't take it. Did you forget not to eat vegetables? This giant says, oh. I forget that I don't eat vegetables. Saved Sophie by throwing vegetables. Then this giant leaves from there. Then the old giant had to go somewhere. Sophie asked him, where are you going? Grandpa says he's going to urgent business. She asks, what kind of urgent work is this? Doesn't reveal anything about it either, but she reveals that, prompted by Sophie, she continues with her dreams. Then Sophie insists, take me. But he didn't want to take her. So I didn't want to take the risk. But agrees to take Sophie with her. When you go outside, you find that the giant is fast asleep. Wanted to cross, but she wakes up all Titans at the same time. And they start harassing the old giants. Pygmies. Where are you going? I'm at work. These giants say, I don't want them to come out of here to the human world. All giants irritated old giants too much. Sophie hides in the vehicle by chance. Then the old giant points to the sky and says, seeing this, everyone testifies that it will be cloudy and rainy. In fact, all giants were afraid of water. Because they had an irrational fear of water. Then it starts to rain. And all the giants hide from there. Taking this opportunity, both the old giant and Sophie depart from there. They start climbing the mountain. Climb, go far, and beyond the clouds. According to Sophie, the stars seen from here are lovely. The old giant says she can do her rhythm here as well. Shows that you can hear all sounds in the universe. You can hear ants and insects, and you can hear the trees talking. My hearing is too strong to hear the voices of the universe. Sophie says she can't believe your story after hearing it. Old giant says, it's true, my daughter, you must trust her. And reach the lake. There was a tree with big flowers nearby. The old giant dives into the water and Sophie jumps with it. And they reach the other side of the lake. And there is a dream world. Dreams fall like drops from this tree. And the old giants come here just to catch them. And the two have many dreams together. This included both good and bad dreams. If you catch these dreams, they will start retreating. They became close friends. They were happy with each other. The old giant also tells her his touching story. All the giants here call me Pygmy. But I'm happy to think about it. I also met someone who called me a big friendly giant. After capturing the dream, they wander the city, where children sleep in their own homes. And the big and friendly giant makes me have really good dreams while I sleep, so that people can enjoy their dreams. Here the kind giant is known to be a kind-hearted giant. Those who give people dreams take them out of the dream world. You can bring joy to your life while you sleep. Sophie asks, did your parents tell you about your dreams? The big friendly giant tells us that giants have no parents. She then asks how old the big friendly giant is. How old are you? The big friendly giant says my age matches the age of this universe. This means that the giants were created along with the creation of this universe. But they live in this universe behind walls, hiding from humans. Then they start going back. Suddenly, Sophie asks, "Where is my blanket?" And the big friendly giant is concerned about this fact. As Sophie said, "I can't bring her back now." For these giants had by now established that someone was with me. And here's the big friendly giant Sophie revealing the facts. "I found a child many years ago. He was as innocent and handsome as you. And he looked at me just like you. So I brought this kid into the world of giants. And the same kid taught me how to read. That includes your jacket. But it was too late to bring this child into his world. And I don't want you to face the same consequences as my innocent friend. You are my friend too." He then decides to leave, leaving Sophie there. This prohibits Sophie from staying here. And she insists on accompanying it. At this point, the giant disagrees with her. The big friendly giant then begins to leave, leaving them at the orphanage. Sophie didn't want to be there, so she jumped off the balcony. Because she knew that she was guarded by a friendly giant. And the same thing happens, and a great gentle giant saves her. So Sophie has to reluctantly agree. You are pulled back into the world of giants, where the remaining giants were already waiting for them. Because all the giants realized that the old giants have all humans. So all the giants wanted to know, who is this man? Where is this man? And they break household items. However, a big friendly giant has burned this blanket and it smells like Sophie. He then told all the giants to leave their homes. Sophie notices a picture on the wall. It was a photo of the queen. Sophie, who noticed this picture, comes up with a certain strategy. She asks a friendly giant to grant her queen's dream. And in this dream, it becomes clear that there is a world of giants in the same universe. And these giants are too dangerous. They eat and kill all children. And you can also bring us both into this dream. Go ahead and let the queen recognize you. The big friendly giant does the same when you hear it. And create the dreams of all the giants living in the world of giants. And this dream includes myself and Sophie. And that includes other children who have gone missing in town. They then move closer to the queen's palace. And they transfer their dreams to the sleep queen. And the queen dreams of what she wanted to show. The awakened queen is frightened because it was a nightmare. Because the giants ate the children. Queen shares a dream with her companions. Her servant comforts her with her comforting words, "Don't worry, it was your nightmare," she said while reading the newspaper. Many children disappear from their homes last night. The same thing you dreamed about will happen. The queen then says, "Put back the curtains." When she pulled back the curtains, Sophie was standing by her window. They actually made it part of their dream. And they also took a big friendly giant there. Sophie talks about a big friendly giant. She also borrows the queen's words. Promise not to harm the friendly and great giant. A friendly giant then appears before the queen and bows down politely. Then the queen will also fulfill her promise. Here's another silly fact about giants. Could not pronounce the correct word. Before. It was something other than queen. The big friendly giant was unable to pronounce the word human correctly. They were pronouncing confusing words. The queen welcomes them warmly. She also offers them a fine feast. Then they reveal everything to the queen. Giants. World has his two big giants who eat and catch children and people. So the queen is preparing to help them. And she has her entire army ready. With the help of friendly giants, she travels to the world of giants and takes a helicopter. Now you've got your plan right. There is one stop as planned. Because I faced the attack with all possible preparations. There was a plan that the gentle giant would make his dream come true. And the big friendly giant contain regret and guilt in those dreams for the bad deeds they committed. And the big friendly giant also creates such a dream. When the big friendly giant brings this dream to the giants, he remembers that I forgot the tools that bring dreams to the queen's palace. And it was dangerous to do without it, because I had to go to these giants. However, Sophie bravely carries the glass of dreams to the sleeping giant. The leader of these giants awakens before Sophie breaks this glass. Sophie breaks the glass trying to grab her. And this dream is taken over by the sleeping giant. Upon awakening, these giants feel guilty for their bad deeds. But a giant leader awoke. So no regrets, no guilt. Then attack Sophie. However, a gentle giant appears in front of this giant. Biggest friendly giant is small in size, so this giant is caught by hand. When you start killing friendly big giants, the queen's forces arrive by helicopter. And they take all the giants and grab them. And they are stranded on an island in the middle of the ocean. There was water around them and they were afraid of the water. So I couldn't escape from there. So you're stuck here for the rest of your life. The queen throws food seeds for these giants there. These giants can use these seeds to grow vegetables. And they eat this vegetable for the rest of their lives. These giants disliked this vegetable, but had to reluctantly eat it. And they must eat this vegetable and live forever on this island. Then we see Sophie, who is not staying in the orphanage, living in the queen's palace. Sophie is very happy here. You can also contact the friendly giant at any time, because the great friendly giant said he could hear every sound in this universe. On the other hand, the friendly big giant who was left alone in the world of giants grew a lot of vegetables in the world of giants besides this meadow he was. And I am happy with its longevity. Sophie comes to the window every day and says good morning to the BFG. When he hears it, he replies, great and friendly giant. And this great movie ends here.